Hello everyone, I'm Heather, and in today's video I want to talk to you about traveling with an injury or traveling with chronic pain. The primary reason I decided to make this video is because I wanted to update my longtime viewers or my subscribers to a couple of physical things that have been going on with me and also with my oldest son Andrew before we go on this 11-day trip where we're going to Walt Disney World and on a Royal Caribbean cruise. If you've been following my channel for a while, you will know that in December of 2020, I fell down our concrete basement stairs and I fractured both of my ankles. In addition to that, after about 5 months, my left ankle had healed up fine, but my right ankle was still very, very bad and was not really healing right at all. Was still in a lot of pain, couldn't walk on it. And my doctor finally ordered an MRI at that point, and it turned out I had torn 4 major ligaments in my right ankle, which at that point it was kind of really too late to do surgery on. They never really healed right or healed completely. Ligaments don't heal on their own really. And I also had ruptured my syndesmosis, which is kind of a joint thing that holds your leg bones together in your lower leg. So my right ankle has been a major problem for me. I can never do anything high impact again, ever. I had some trouble with walking, especially having to walk fast or long distances. And I had a lot of difficulty going downstairs, which is one of the major factors that contributed to us deciding to sell our house and move. Our old house had a lot of stairs. Almost 4 years later, 3.5 years later, and I would say at this point, I can walk completely fine. It doesn't give me a lot of pain anymore. Every once in a while, I will still have some pain, maybe a minor bit of swelling. It'll probably come up when we're at Disney World just because we're walking so much. And like I said, I can't do anything high impact, so I'm not supposed to run. I can't jump. I can't skip. I still really can't get down on the floor because I can't get back up. I can't go on my knees because my ankle can't flatten out completely. So things like that. I can go down the stairs normally now, but I do have to have a handrail to hold on to. And I can't go down quickly like most normal people would do. I have to be very conscientious about it and take it slow. But for the most part, as far as like walking and everything, my ankle is now fine. In the meantime, however, last summer, you may remember, I had a mystery injury. I suddenly over time, like since like early in 2023, March, April, May, I mentioned it in videos and I might have edited it out actually by mentioning of it. I was having trouble with pain in my left side of my butt and the back of my left leg. Starting in early 2023, by the time we took our Alaska cruise in May of 2023, I was having a lot of difficulty laying down. I really could not lay on my back or on my left side at all. But I could still like walk fine and everything. But at the beginning of July, I tried going to physical therapy and I tried going to the chiropractor. And some combination of those things did something bad. And I had a rapid deterioration in my ability to stand, move, walk. I was in agonizing pain. And it was a very long process. I actually had to use a wheelchair again for a while. They guessed everything from a torn muscle to tight IT band to a fractured pelvis. They really thought it was that. To bone cancer. So they had all these things they thought it was, but I never actually got a definitive diagnosis. Now I did have 2 MRIs about 6 months apart. The first MRI was of my pelvis to confirm what they were sure was a fractured pelvis and turned out not to be. My pelvis was completely fine. In that one, just because it was so low, my very bottom disc in my spine, the L5-S1 disc, appears on the MRI to be black, which basically means it's dehydrated. So like the fluid isn't there anymore. Now they said at that time, and again after I had the second MRI, which I didn't have for till December, the second MRI that I had of my spine showed that only that disc was problematic. All the rest of the discs in my spine were completely fine. Now, they say that lower disc is herniated, but they were unable to show me the herniation on the MRI. So they were like going through like one slide at a time, you know, because it's slices. And they're like, yeah, like sort of about here. I can't see it. I still don't think I have an accurate diagnosis for what's wrong and what's causing this pain. They offered me steroid injections. They offered me surgery. I was not comfortable with either of those options, given the fact that they really still seem to be guessing and don't really know exactly what's causing my pain. It does seem pretty obvious that something about my lower spine is pinching on one of the major nerves that runs down my backside and the back of my leg. But it didn't present as traditional sciatica, and so it was really a mystery. It's still kind of a mystery. For the most part, though, I've been able to function completely fine. I have had to change some things with my behavior, my lifestyle. I can't sit very long. And now, here again in July, or well, I guess it's August now, but at the beginning of July, the same exact thing happened. The pain got way, way worse. And I did post something in my community tab or something, I think, and a viewer commented that the same thing happens to them. And I did look it up. And apparently this is a thing. If you have like sciatica and stuff, oftentimes in people, it does get worse in the summer. And it has to do with heat and humidity and like changes in barometric pressure and things like that. So I actually already am getting a little better than I was, say, a month ago. And so I'm optimistic that it's going to kind of fade back out. I really hope it doesn't continue to be a problem every summer because it's a bummer. But the thing that I have noticed about this problem is that the more active I am, the better I feel. The one time I don't have any pain is when I'm walking. So I've really increased my walking. I actually installed a pedometer app on my phone to set daily goals for myself to really make sure I'm up and moving and walking as much as possible. My oldest son, Andrew, who's going on the trip with us, he fractured his right ankle a few months ago. I think it was March, maybe. He never had an MRI, but he's pretty confident, and his podiatrist that he saw is pretty confident that it was just a fracture. He had to have a boot like I did, but he did seem to heal up well. It was problematic for him because it was his right ankle, because again, when it's your right ankle, driving is a whole big issue, but he's doing okay. He's been off the boot for some time and he is doing all right. But I know it does still bother him sometimes, especially with driving, which has also been a problem for me, especially having to hold the brake pedal. So both of us have the issue of recovery from a fractured, injured right ankle. And then I have this spine thing going on. I am kind of actually looking forward to the trip very much. And Megan and I were talking about how this is just more evidence that we need to travel more. Because for some reason, even though the new mattress I bought when we moved 2 years ago is firmer than the mattress I had previous to that at our old house, I think it's still too soft. And too soft of a mattress can contribute to spinal disc issues. So I think that might be part of the problem. And the thing I have come to realize is that hotel mattresses overall, and including the ones at Disney and on cruise ships, I would say, tend to be firmer than what I have at home. And when I sleep it on a firmer mattress, I don't have as many problems with the sleeping and the pain and stuff. Laying down is really difficult. And so I'm optimistic and looking forward to the trip for that reason, because I'm hoping I'll actually feel better because I'm sleeping on firmer mattresses. Megan's noticed it too. When we travel, I never wake up in the night. I sleep all night, soundly. Very rarely will I have to get up and go to the bathroom. But at home, I can have to get up and go to the bathroom 2-3 times a night. And what I actually think it is, it's that pain from my spine is waking me up. And then once I'm awake, I realize I need to pee. So it's not that I'm waking up because I have to pee. Sometimes it is because I drank too much before I went to bed. I think it's more that pain is waking me up and then I have to go to the bathroom. I really am kind of looking forward to getting better quality sleep while we travel because I'm sleeping on a firmer mattress and I'm not having the pain while I'm sleeping. So this brings me to the topic just kind of overall of travel when you have an injury or have chronic pain. I see people traveling with an injury all the time. I see people on crutches. I see people with those little knee scooters at Disney World, even with casts on, in wheelchairs, using mobility scooters. Some of them obviously have some kind of visible injury. You know, they're a young, healthy person like me, but they have, you know, some kind of brace on a knee, a leg, an ankle, whatever. There's can be lots of reasons that people have to use some kind of mobility aid or whatever when they're traveling, you know, that they wouldn't normally need to use. You've seen in my past videos how I've had to rent mobility scooters when we've gone to theme parks and things in the past just because my ankle was so bad. You shouldn't ever feel like two things. One, don't let an injury stop you from taking your trip or taking your vacation. Obviously, it's a big bummer if you have to be on crutches or you have to use your knee scooter or you have to rent a wheelchair or whatever when you're on vacation. That isn't how you envisioned it. That isn't how you were planning to experience that trip. But it is still possible to travel with an injury. People do it all the time. There are lots of things that can be done to help you adapt to the circumstances. And I really want to encourage you not to let that stop you. And then the second thing is there's lots of reasons that people need mobility or accessibility assistance. And more in our modern society, companies and places, especially in the United States, are becoming very good at accommodating people with disabilities, whether that be a long-term disability or a short-term disability. So you shouldn't let it stop you or be intimidated by the idea of having to go someplace because you have this injury or this condition or this disability, because I have found, and hopefully I've shown you in past videos, that it's still very doable. I never let my injuries or my pain stop me from traveling. Yes, I might be limited in some of the activities that I can do, or I might have to do things like I've got to take the elevator instead of the stairs, or I can't, you know, pack this day as much, or I can't go scale a mountain or something, you know, but whatever it is, there's still plenty of other things that you can do, and you just have to be aware of your physical limitations. Obviously, don't do things that are not advised by your doctor or that are going to cause you additional pain. But I really feel strongly that you shouldn't let an injury or a condition or disability stop you from traveling. Many people travel all the time when they're injured, you know, recovering from an injury, or even with long-term chronic health problems. That's the first thing I want you to get out of this. And then the second thing I want you to get out of this is, if you do have chronic pain, it is manageable when you travel. So the key things with traveling with chronic pain are that you want to make sure you know how to manage your pain, first of all, when you're at home. If you can manage your pain at home, however you're doing that, you know, maybe you're taking medication and you have a certain schedule of how you take the medication, or maybe you use, you know, analgesic patches or something like that, or you have some way of managing your pain at home. Get into a good habit and make sure you know exactly, you've worked with your doctor and you know exactly what you need to do to manage that pain. Maybe it's some kind of positional adaptation, you know, with the way you sit, or maybe, you know, like me, you can't sit very long, so you have to get up and move around every 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is. However you need to manage that pain, have that ready to go. And then do that same thing when you're traveling. And then make sure that you take with you plenty of whatever it is you need to manage your pain when you're traveling. With one exception, do not plan on taking medical marijuana or CBD oil with you when you travel. It's not worth the risk. It's not legal in a lot of places. You can get in really big trouble if you travel with CBD oil or CBD products or with medical marijuana. I do not advise that anyone attempt to travel with these, even with a doctor's note, especially internationally. You have to remember, just because they're legal in your state does not mean that they are legal in another state. They're not legal federally, and they're not legal in a lot of other countries. This is especially true if you're going on a cruise. People have been denied boarding and even banned permanently from traveling on a cruise line because they tried to bring CBD products or medical marijuana or something on board or non-medical marijuana. Okay, so don't do that. I really advise you, if you're reliant on some type of product like that, you need to find an alternative for when you're on your trip. It's a big warning to you, okay? There can really be very serious legal consequences. You don't want to end up in some prison in some other country somewhere I'm not kidding. Make sure that you have plenty of your medication or your aids, that you use or things. Be ready financially, check in ahead of time. Can you rent a wheelchair there? Can you rent a mobility scooter there? Do you need to order it ahead of time and have it delivered? That's a possibility. There's going to be mobility scooter rental places in almost every tourist destination you can imagine. And you can order it ahead of time and have it for the length of your stay, and they'll deliver it right to your hotel. Most theme parks rent wheelchairs and mobility scooters. You pay a deposit and you get it back when you return the thing. If you need to get some extra supplies or something from your doctor or your pharmacy ahead of time, just make sure you have enough to last you the duration of your trip. And then follow the same plan that you would have followed at home, and make sure that you're staying ahead of your pain and managing your pain just like you would at home, and you shouldn't have any trouble. If you have any questions about traveling with an injury or a medical condition or disability, this is such a broad topic, it's hard for me unless somebody asks me a specific question, but please feel free to leave those questions in the comments below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. But I just really want to emphasize again that you shouldn't let physical limitations stop you from traveling like you want to. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I wish you all the best. Have a great day and safe travels.